Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 21 of Hooked on Sonics. Honey, don't wait up for us. We've gone Gishin. I'm Bruce. That's Tony. And Tony, I believe we've got a special guest on the line. Why don't you introduce them for us, would you?
All right. This would be my good friend, Herman Morris. For those that are very close to the Suspect Earth camp, they would know Herman as the fifth suspect, literally the fifth suspect. He's been on stage with us, and he is a hell of a cat and a hell of a sound man, to be honest. He ran all our mixing and stuff through practice and whatnot. He would be out for all recordings, and I think he may have even sat in on a recording or two at some point in time. Unfortunately, life has separated us in different states, as it has for me and Bruce. But this is a great way to keep in touch, and music's always kept us in touch. And I'll tell you, there's not anybody in this whole circle you're watching here or listening to that probably couldn't tell you something about just about anything in music. There is a huge knowledge base in these three individuals. And Herb, welcome to the show.
Oh, how you doing, everyone?
Sweet.
Good,
so,
my friend.
So I understand that you run you've got your own like TV or a radio show on what was the name of that program there?
My VS Radio.
On my VS Radio. So you want to tell anybody about that real quick?
Yeah, I have two shows on myvsradio.com. One show is called Herman's Hideout. I play like just classic rock and stuff. And then the other one is Classic Gold, where I play classic top 40. And I tell you where they charted, where they peaked and what year.
Nice, man. So if you like what you're hearing here, we like what we're hearing over there. Give Herman a listen, see if you can't help him get his numbers up like you do with us, guys.
Absolutely, Tony. I think we can put the link. In the description of the YouTube video, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I think we could do that.
Yeah.
So we'll get that taken care of. With that being said, Bruce, we listen to
what? Dude, I have gone down a deep rabbit hole again of Rolling Stone live albums.
Oh, wow.
I cannot think of a band that has more live recordings, official releases anyway, than the Stones. And my biggest takeaway from listening from all the way from the very first one to, Get Your Yayas Out to Live Grr released in 2022, these guys just stay consistently great. Just great every time.
Well, let's talk about that. Herman got to see them here recently, man. And Herman, do you think they still sounded great?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw them back in 2021.
Yeah, I think that was the last tour that Charlie was with them, I think.
No, he wasn't with them. He had already passed. He had already passed by the time we saw him.
Good God, has it been that long?
He passed away a couple months before they were supposed to perform here in St. Louis.
Wow.
Well, yeah, no one can fill Charlie's shoes.
The original plan was he was going to take time off anyway because he had an operation. So Steve Jordan was going to fill in for him. Well, of course, Charlie passed away. So Steve Jordan, the drummer, which I think he was in Blues Brothers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It was a good show. Great show.
Herman, what have you been listening to lately?
Who?
What have you been listening to lately?
Well, I picked up Essential Johnny Winter.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic.
Been listening to that. And then, of course, I picked up this CD. I've been checking it out.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a little bit. I listened to a little bit of it on YouTube, and I just happened to see it. I wasn't really looking for it. It was just I saw Smashing Pumpkins. Gish, what? I go, well, hey, that's the. and I would just went in and bought it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It rocks. I mean, I
Hey,
think it does.
we're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that.
Okay, I'll save it. I don't want to jump
Simmer
ahead.
down over there, Herman. Simmer down.
All right.
No, seriously, we're going to get into that album. That's I think this is going to be a great show. Definitely want to thank Scott for being on the last show and giving us the album to review.
You're saying you damn rookie.
I have been what have I been listening to? Who have I been listening to lately?
If you got to think about it this long, you're just making it up.
No. I checked out. I listened to that first. I was listening to a lot of Sonic Flower here recently. Checked out. Oh man, somebody just checked out the new Ohm stuff. I've been checking that out. The Wind Hand reissue, man, I can't get off of it, man. It sounds really, really good. And if I can't be sure, and I need to do some research on it, but I think there's some extended tracks on it with some extra stuff in them. And it's like, but the album's really good and it sounds really, really, really good. So I've been really kind of jamming that out. But other than that, man, that's about it. Maybe a little Typo Negative. Maybe.
Okay.
I've been trying to think of, like, I know that we got special guests coming up on the show, but I'm trying to come up with albums that aren't really Doom related for you. So it's been kind of a big pain in the rear end.
You're so sweet.
Oh, come on, dude. It's a good. I got some great, dude. That band that I saw last week or the week before, The Well, man, they're good, dude.
Yeah.
They were so great live. I would love to have had both of you there at that show with me and Tom, watching what we saw in all three bands that night. It was a good time. So I'll
Very
leave
cool.
that at that. With that being said, I'll punch into things. Someone's drinking Zombie Ice tonight. One of the last two in the fridge, unfortunately. But next week I'll try and find something a little cooler. Not that this ain't cool, it is ice.
That's cool as ice. That's right.
What are you drinking, Bruce?
Well, I am drinking some good old Captain Morgan white rum and Coke. Yep.
Nice, classic.
Because I thought I had a spiced rum and I was out. So there it is.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
Right.
I'm a Bacardi guy.
Drinks just
I drink
fine.
a lot of Bacardi. When I get in a rum mood, it's Bacardi all day long. And Kate and I found out that we like Bacardi 8. Amazing. You like rum? Pick up that Bacardi 8 or that Bacardi 10.
Okay.
Bruce,
Herm,
you know,
are you drinking anything?
It's everybody's responsibility to make sure where everybody's drinking. Getting drinking.
I'm drinking a gummy beer.
A gummy bear.
Who? You melted gummy bears? Oh, God.
What is this?
Yeah, see?
Gummy beer.
Yeah. Fruit punch.
So how's the sugar intake on that?
It's not bad.
All right.
Do you got to chew it?
I only drink one at a time, so I mean, I have to keep the numbers low.
Yeah. I like some sugary stuff, man, sometimes too, or some sweeter stuff. Like I like a lot of Strongbow's lineup when it comes to ciders and stuff like that. Strongbow makes some really nice stuff. What do you like in that department there, Bruce?
I like let's see, I like any of their apple cider. I think they got a peach cider as well.
Is there any other ciders that you like Angry Orchard or anything like that?
I like reds, and it's not a cider, but Shiner makes a strawberry ale that's fantastic.
Oh, I would. I'm not a big fan of Shiner, but I'd give that a shot. I would definitely.
Oh, it's good.
What else is the other one? Man, do you remember? Do you guys? And I know that you guys were around long enough to remember this. Do you guys remember when CBC was like first open? We had like the 90 shilling, and there was fucking the apricot ale. Oh man, I used to love.
I think I
never
had
drank
that.
it.
I think I had that.
Yeah.
I think, dude, I used to love drinking that during the summer, man. It was one of the best ales ever, man. And it just ever since then, I don't think I've seen 90 shilling in eons. I definitely haven't seen the other one in a long time. But
Back then, that was more my deep wild turkey phase. Wasn't drinking much beer, so everything's a little bleary.
nice. Anyways, well, I'll tell you what. I think we have an album to review.
Well,
So
you got
without
any
further
news?
ado, oh, you want some news? Well, you go first.
Okay,
You said
well,
you had
I
news.
will. I'll keep mine pretty short and sweet. New Metallica album just released. I gave it a quick run through. So far, pretty solid. That may come up on a next episode, coming up. But so far so good on that one. Really big day on Saturday for all you vinyl aficionados. Record Store Day. There are two releases that I'm especially looking forward to. Van Halen is releasing for the first time on vinyl their live album with Sammy Hagar, Right Here, Right Now, on the for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge tour. And Eric Carr's family, the former drummer from Kiss, released a special edition of Tales of the Fox. So looking really
Nice.
forward to that.
Mm.
Bruce
Okay.
Kulick was really involved in that too. So really
I would
excited
love
for
to
that.
hear it. I would love to hear it. Hell
Okay.
yeah. Good stuff. I've got, let's see, and this is from our friends over at blabbermouth.net. We've got some tour stuff coming up. We've got the Jethro Tull announces a 7-decade summer tour, summer-fall tour for 2023.
You mean the best metal album or best metal performance in 1991? Yeah, I remember that one.
Let's see. Parkway Drive announces a tour with the Amity Affliction, North Lane, and Make Them Suffer. And Carl Palmer announces the return of Emerson, Lake and Palmer Summer Tour. Greta Van Fleet announces a Starcatcher World Tour. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of dig those dudes. I mean, I know they get a lot of flack for sounding like Zeppelin, but I've dug everything I've heard from them. I dig them.
Yeah.
So one of the big things I noticed was, and I saw this, I think last night, maybe it was the first thing I saw this morning. Surviving Soundgarden members and Chris Cornell have reached a agreement regarding release of the final recordings from Cornell. So that'll be very, very cool to look forward to. For those that want to know, Motley Crue enters the studio with longtime producer Bob Rocket, look like. And Roger Waters announces this is not a drill concert broadcast and cinema event. I have to say something about that because I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, and we all know that. So if there's ever any Pink Floyd news, you guys will probably receive that from me. Other than that, that's the news.
Oh goodness! Oh goodness!
Wait, did
Thanks,
I hear
Tony.
right? Did I hear right that Gene Simmons was suffering from dehydration?
Yeah, so they were in the
there was
middle
an
of it.
incident.
Yep, they were in Brazil on one of the hottest times of the year, and they were in the middle of a really shitty song off of Sonic Boom called "Say Yeah," and he literally had to sit down on stage. So they got him a chair, and he finished the song. He was off for about 30 minutes, and then came back and finished the show. So I think if you look on KissOnline.com, he's selling that chair for $7,000.
I wouldn't doubt
I'll
it.
tell you what, dude.
I would not doubt it. That's Gene. That's Gene.
Look, I'm gonna tell you something. If I went to a Kiss concert,
Go make some money.
And they didn't play nothing but hits, I would be pissed. every song they fire off better be a fucking hit, because for what they're charging for tickets and knowing that the show is fake, every song better be a fucking hit. I don't want no side bullshit track. I don't want jack fucking shit, but fucking hits. Because that way I'm walking out of there and go, huh.
So here's the deal. All you got to do is look at any of the past tours for the last 20 years. They have literally not changed the set list in 20 years. So there you go. Save your money.
Damn.
It's bad. All right. So which one of you crazy kids would like to start the festivities on Gish?
I would like you to start this week. I think I've been starting an awful lot, and I'm trying to back off on talking so much. So go.
All right. All right. So we are reviewing Gish, released May 28th, 1991. I believe it was their debut album. It was produced by the legendary producer Butch Vig, quintessential producer of that era. Produced Garbage. I believe he was the drummer for them as well, and obviously produced Nevermind. The man's a damn genius. I think when listening to this album, the first thing I thought was, my God, 90s bass players were fucking outstanding. No one talks about this enough. Stroke? Hello? Yes. The bass playing on this album, I mean, it's just phenomenal. And it reminds me, again, I just kept thinking back of especially female bass players in the 90s in this genre. And, in White Zombie and Four Non Blondes and all kinds. And it's just like, my God, this is so good. So good.
Remember that band, The Well, I was telling you about, dude? Female bass player. Like a beast, dude. Like a boss. Like a monster, dude. She is a monster, dude.
Yep.
But I'll be honest with you, I don't want to seem disrespectful. She may identify, or they may identify as non-binary.
Okay.
And that's being honest. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Sure. Yeah. Let them live. 2 singles were released off this, I Am One and Siva. My introduction into Smashing Pumpkins was actually from my nephew who had come to live with us in Florida. And this is in 92 for when Siamese Dream came out. So I had no frame of reference. It wasn't playing on the Blitz at all. He's like, oh yeah, this band he gave me the tape. He's like, oh dude, this band's been out for like a couple years. Never played on the Blitz or anything like that. So I really enjoyed Siamese Dream. And
who gave you that?
I was really surprised to hear this. Huh?
Who gave you that?
My nephew, Little Davy. Yep. So it was another thing I took from this was they found their sound right from the rip. So if you listen to Gish, I mean, it's a seamless transfer over to Siamese Dream, and then on to the next one and the next one. I mean, they found their sound right away, and usually it seems like bands need an album or two to really define who they actually are, their signature sound.
Well, let's back up a second. Let's back up a second, if you don't mind me interrupt. They may have found their sound early, but they've lost members. And there have been several member changes. Okay. So who found that sound early? Because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, Billy Corgan's the only longtime member of that band. I could be wrong, but who found that sound early?
No, what I'm saying is this original group, I believe, was together for the first like 3 or 4 albums, and then after that Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, after that they just kind of broke apart, and think for a minute I think it was just Billy as Smashing Pumpkins, and then they got James back in and a couple other people
Yeah, but somebody
to
passed
do a
away
couple
from
more
it.
records.
But
I
somebody
think
passed
so.
away. So
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly who it was, but I go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just being honest.
No, you're fine. So, Crush, some of the standout tracks for me, Crush, I I wrote down this is an Alice in Chains type song. Like I can hear Lane Staley sing this song. I can hear this being played on the Unplugged album or the Three-Legged Dog album. I can hear that. Window Pane was a really interesting song. I love the breakdown kind of in the middle of that. The guitar solos, pretty much all through this album, are fantastic to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the kind of unsung heroes in this is Darcy, the bass player, actually singing on the last track, "Daydream," and then Billy taking over for "I'm Going Crazy." But I really enjoy that "Daydream" song.
What do you give it?
I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Ooh.
And the reason,
An 8.
yeah, because there's nothing that was like, I really enjoyed this album. I really did. I'm not a huge Pumpkins fan, but this album is like, okay, it's got great catchy stuff, but there was nothing that stood out like, oh, this is fantastic to me. There were some great pieces, but as a whole, it's like, okay, this is a nice album. It's a great album, or a really good album. I shouldn't say great. If it was great, it'd be higher, but it's a solid album, really good album. Nothing wrong with it. It's just, okay, good.
All right.
And I could take this right into Siamese Dream. Good.
All right. All right. Herb, I want to, being that you're a guest on our show, why don't you take the second slot? What's your take on this album?
I liked it. I think like the first 2-3 songs, right away get you going, Then I think maybe midway through or starts to hear more mellow side, then starts rocking again. I had no clue what the thing was going to sound like. I just a couple of songs on YouTube I played, and I liked it, and I just happened to see it. And I bought it. I liked it.
Yeah.
So what would you give it on a scale of 1
No.
to 10? And we do quarter increments too. So if you, what would you say is some standout tracks on the album for you? You said those first 3, which would be I Am One, I believe it's Siva and Rhinoceros.
Yeah, it's like the first few songs it's like right there. I mean, you're rocking already.
Yep.
Good deal. Good deal. So what would you give it?
7.5.
7.5. That's a good score. That's a good score.
See, he agrees with me.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little biased, okay? Because Siamese Dream entered my life in a really tough time in my life. And the Smashing Pumpkins kind of spoke to me in ways that no other band had spoke to me before. If you ask me 1,000 times, in a day, who is the greatest alternative band? And I'm saying alternative. I'm not talking grunge. I'm not talking Seattle sound. I'm not talking jack shit other than alternative. And alternative's a huge scope. Nobody does it better than Smashing Pumpkins. Nobody. I will never change my mind on that. As far as and there's a way about this. So when you think about the '90s wave of hip hop, rap, rock, that came through Limp Bizkit and some of the Korn stuff and whatnot, right? In my personal opinion, nobody did it better than Rage Against the Machine. Nobody.
Yeah.
So I have very strong opinions in this matter. You're talking to me about who I think is the greatest band in this field. I Am One, Siva, Rhinoceros. Herm, you're 100% right. That album just rocks right from. I Am One is such a great opener.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it slows down and shows a softer side of them, and shows that they're just not this one angled thing. But I also like how each song on this album was its own thing. Tristessa has probably one of the best guitar solos I've ever heard in my ears. I really enjoyed that song. Window Pane is a great song. And yes, Bruce, you are right. The sweetening on the pot at the end, with Darcy singing at the end, was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into a long, drawn song out dance about how big of a Smashing Pumpkins fan I am. But I will tell you, in my personal opinion, and I'll go to the grave saying it, when it comes to alternative style music, nobody does it better than Smashing Pumpkins.
Salute. So before you give your review, let me ask you this. So I think we all agree this is a seamless transition into Siamese Dream, and obviously Siamese Dream was such a huge hit with many singles.
But hold on, being somebody that just found out about these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could go back to this first album from Siamese Dream and go, yeah, this is what it's about. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard to go back. Such as like
absolutely
when
not.
you listen to early Slayer, like Haunting the Chapel and shit like that before Rain and Blood happened, that's a hard go back. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Why do you think, and Herman, this is for you too, why do you think there was really no big hits off this album? I mean, again, this is just as good as Siamese Dream. There's no,
probably very little promotion. Very little promotion. Yeah. Politics, whatever, who knows?
Dude, it was I don't understand how a band, well, I do. Never mind. I'm not even gonna make that statement. I'll pass on that. Because you know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna give the freaking examples of this shit. I do not understand how a band can put out such a great album and it doesn't get the proper promotion that it needs to succeed. Case in point, bands like Danzig. Mother was a first album track and did not become popular until the fourth album as a live track. And it was only an EP. Monster Magnet did not become popular for many albums until Space Lord dropped.
Yep.
There's so many great bands that don't get that, right? So with that being said, it sucks because why did they not give proper promotion to this album, knowing that maybe they didn't know Siamese Dream was going to be as big as it was, but they should have seen right then and there. These dudes are huge. They have a huge sound. I mean, let's talk about guitar tone. Where does that come from? Where's that guitar tone come from? The bass players, you're not wrong, dude. Them drums, I think it was on Window Pane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, this is a great album. So yeah, with that being said, we got about 8.5 minutes left. I'm giving this album a 9.25.
Not a 10.
Not my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album, but not a bad album by any means.
Herman, he calls himself a fan. You believe that?
I didn't even know this album existed, to be honest. First thing I heard from was Cherub Rock was the first thing I heard from Smashing Pumpkins. I thought that was their first thing, you know. I didn't know that Gish was before that, you know.
Yeah.
First thing I heard from the Pumpkins was Today, and I knew right then and there these dudes were bad.
And see, I don't know why that album wouldn't take off, you know, like what was the other one?
Siamese
Si-
Dream.
With Siamese Dream.
Why that one took off and the other one didn't. You know, that's a mystery.
And I think I really think it boils down to budgets and the record label not able or willing to push them at that time. That's
Right,
the only thing that makes sense.
Because when did the Seattle sound really start taking off? It wasn't
mainstream, probably around this time, around 91, 92.
Yeah.
It felt
So
like,
if you ask
let's
me,
see.
So when you think about grunge, guys, when you think
Go
about the grunge rock thing that came
Yeah.
out of Seattle, right? Who's your favorite?
for grunge.
For me, yeah, grunge.
Well,
I think we're all three going to agree, but go ahead.
I like Alice in Chains.
I'm going to say it's a mix. It's a toss up between Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana for me.
Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains. I couldn't stand Stone Temple Pilots, and I absolutely hated Nirvana.
I know you do.
Now, Soundgarden wasn't bad. Soundgarden wasn't
bad either.
No, Bad Motorfinger album is fantastic.
I just like
Motorfinger album and the album that fell on Black Days and Black Hole Sun on it was amazing too. Amazing. Yep. Two great albums right there. So with that being said, we got about 6 minutes. Herm, since you're our guest this evening, you get to give us an album. We need to be accessible to YouTube to catch it, and our fans can catch it as well.
Okay.
What do you have for Tone and Bruce for next week?
All right. For Tony, this is accessible on YouTube. Zebra, self-titled.
I'm familiar with the band, but not that familiar. Zebra's self-titled album. That sounds great.
And
Sweet.
You're doing a split. He's doing a split.
Oh, look at this. Thank God.
Oh, was that the way it's supposed to be? Okay.
If that's what you were going to do.
No, please give me one. Please.
Okay. For Bruce, going to be Billy Squier, Signs of Life.
Nice. I'm jealous, to be honest.
I have an alternate if you know.
No, we go with what we go with. Zebra self-titled and Billy Squier, Signs of Life. I was hoping you'd hand me Billy Squier's Don't Say No, because he was going to get that from me at some point, because that's absolutely my favorite book.
That actually crossed my mind, but I thought, well, they probably heard a lot from that, and you know.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Herm, I definitely
honestly,
want to say thanks. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's one of the things I love about this show is we get to introduce each other to all kinds of different shit. Like, oh, sure, yeah, we could get into Led Zeppelin 4 and listen to the same fucking shit that we've heard for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
But, introducing these interesting or maybe kind of underrated albums or underrated artists, I love that part of this gig for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a blast. I've heard some interesting and some albums I never want to hear again. but it's been fun. You know what I mean? It's been a real blast. With that being said, Herman, do me one more favor. Go ahead and announce where your shows again before we get off the air.
myvsradio.com, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays 1 p.m. Central Time, and Wednesdays 2 p.m. Central Time. myvsradio.com.
Awesome. go ahead and catch him there. And
Awesome.
Bruce, I appreciate everything that both of you gentlemen have coerced tonight, man. It's been a blast. This has been a lot of fun, and it's really nice to get to see you, Herm. We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No, not a problem, man. Stay in touch.
Absolutely.
See you on the Sabbath episode. Once again, folks, if you like what you see and hear here today, please hit that like, subscribe, and make a comment, man. We want to hear from you guys. And you can catch us over on Spotify. I'll be uploading those episodes every five episodes, just because life gets in the way. But there's plenty of them up there for you to listen to. Thanks again. Once again, catch Herman on his radio shows, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week when we review Zebra's self-titled and Billy Squire's Signs of Life.
I'm going to play lottery. I lucked out.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Herman,
right.
thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Good night. Have a good one.
Salute.